Hey everyone, Aaron here with Canyon Adventure Vans, and today we are going to install the GLSS 4. I'm here in the back of a Winnebago Revel. Let's get to work. First step is going to be putting these caps onto the bed tracks. As you can see, we've already put this one on, screwed the screws back in, but I'm going to show you on this side how we do this. You can take a screwdriver or a drill with a longer Phillips bit on it. That way you can get into the screw. Typically, I'm just going to take these two first screws, just going to back them out about a ½ inch just to give me a little room to pull this out enough to where I can get this back of the rubber cap to go back in there. So sometimes this goes really smooth, sometimes it's a little bit of a chore to get it in there, but really you're just prying this bed track up or out and then putting this cap underneath it until it slides all the way on there. And then we're just going to tighten those screws back up. Don't want to over tighten them and strip them out or anything like that, but definitely want those nice and secure back on. There we go. So that's step one, getting those caps on. Now we're going to go ahead and start with the driver's side GLSS, and we'll go ahead and put that in right now. So our GLSS is pretty well in place to where it's going to be to get mounted in. Before we get to the turnbuckles, we're going to actually just make sure that this trim piece is pushed in nice and tight. That way we don't have to go back and loosen everything else up again to put this back in, because it really does fit wedged in there. And once you have your turnbuckles tight in and the GLSS is in place, it's going to be really hard to get this in. So make sure that's in before, and then we'll move on to mounting it with the turnbuckles. All right, one thing I will point out, this one that we're using for here is prepped to take a microwave. So that's what these bars are. So if you get your GLSS and you don't see these bars, don't worry, this is actually an add-on. Okay, so we've got the GLSS more or less where it's going to be. What we found is it's best to start on this back hook. So what I've done is I've taken the turnbuckle off of this mount here, basically extended it to where I think it's going to be long enough, and you can extend that later, but you're going to go ahead and get this part in first. You're going to want this hook back here going kind of parallel with this wall right here. We'll go ahead and put our turnbuckle in place, run our bolt through it, whichever way is easiest, and then we're going to go ahead and thread the nut on it to lock this in back here in this corner. Throw a cotter pin in there as well to protect the nut from backing out. And now we'll kind of slide the turnbuckle underneath so that now we can put it over here. So as you can see, this is all locked in now and we're good, and that gives us easy access to this. If you do it the other way around, it's really hard, if not impossible, to get that bolt on down there. So really you're gonna wanna get that bottom one on there and then turn your turnbuckle to where it lowers into place to where you can get this into place now. And then you'll just go ahead and feed your bolt through and thread that nut on the back side. Okay, we're not gonna tighten that just yet. We're gonna go ahead and actually push the unit this way and back to where this bottom bar is flush and pushed up against the bottom of this plastic trim down here. We can tighten this later, but first we're gonna come over here and get this one into place. So you can leave it bolted in up here, and what you're gonna basically do is just kind of, you know, loosen the turnbuckle down to where you have room to get your bolt into here. And you just push your bolt through there, thread your nut on. And you might find yourself in a situation like this where maybe it's easier to thread the bolt through. So it's really just a matter of kind of making it as accessible as possible. So now this is going to work out a little better this way. Put that bolt on there, or the nut on the bolt. Take our cotter pin again, thread that through there. And now we'll go ahead and tighten it into place. Start on this back one. And you'll see, one way we'll loosen it to where you're pushing into the ground. Another way we'll tighten it to where you're actually pulling on this hook down here in this, and you'll feel it start to get locked in. I really feel that by hand it's plenty tight. If you want to get crazy and crank on it with a screwdriver, feel free, but I really think that just by hand you're gonna get that plenty tight there. Do the same thing on this side. All right, so now we're gonna take our B side, AKA passenger side storage box, put it in here. Again, I'm picking up and placing it where it needs to go rather than dragging it. Same thing as the other side. We're lining it up with that plastic there and pushing it all the way up against the wall. This one's a little trickier to get to back here, so I think we'll start there. All right, so we've got our turnbuckle low enough for our bolt to slide through. So we'll go ahead and slide our bolt through down there. Get our nut on the back side. A little bit of a tight place in there, so takes a little bit of finesse. And with these hooks on the floor, you really can kind of turn them to orient them a way that makes it easier. So like I said earlier with the screwdriver, if it's easier to kind of turn that hook to where you're getting a bolt through this way or the other way, or trying to work around the tight space, definitely feel free to move that hook around. I was able to get this one though, so we're good here. Go ahead and throw this cotter pin through. It's the same process again. Got our turnbuckle low enough to get the bolt through. Throw our bolt through this way. There it goes. Thread that on. And one more cotter pin goes through the bolt. Again, we're going to push it up against the plastic trim down here, up against the wall, and start to tighten. Okay, give it a good shake test there. Nice and secure. And there it is. We have our driver's side and our passenger side locked in, nice and secure. Next, we'll throw our cushions on, put our table on, and complete the look. All right, now we're going to take our driver's side cushion and put it into place. Just going to slide it right over the top here. And really just trying to get these bumpers that are on the bottom screwed into the bottom of the pad here to fit inside the GLSS into these brackets here and locked into place. Give it the old shake test, and that's good. Now for mounting our table, we're going to start with our leg. Loosen this up to where you can see a thread or two. Make sure we're nice and loose. And we're just going to slide this right over our slim bracket here, get it into place, and tighten this up. With these Lagoon hardware pieces, basically you can pull this handle out and kind of grab this and hand thread it with your fingertips there. And then kind of use this as a ratchet by pulling it out to disengage it and then tightening it as you need. Line that up nicely there. And now we'll go ahead and grab our arm. Boom, so efficient. Do our logo facing out, the Lagoon label right there. Tighten this up just a little bit. And then we'll take our table, take this part here, put it in this hole here, make sure we're loosened up so that we're not fighting it. Put that into place right there, and it'll drop right in. And then you can sway your table wherever you desire. Again, we'll just tighten these up. For the sake of this video, we are going to assume that we're getting ready to take off with this van. So what I'll do is tighten up this right here, this back handle, as well as this handle right here. I'm not gonna go too crazy. It's plastic hardware here on the outside, so we don't want to over tighten it or seize up the bolt in there, but just tight enough to where you can give this a good wiggle and not have it go flying one way or the other. That way, if you take a corner, you don't hear your table go flying across the van. And that's pretty much it. Now, if you were gonna go to lower your bed, I'd highly recommend loosen these up a bit, take it over to the center of the van here, loosen up your bottom bracket, and just slide this down really as low as it'll go just for safety. And that's gonna give you enough room to lower your bed down into its low mode there so that you can sleep in it without crushing your table. So I'll go ahead and put this back into drive mode. Tighten all these back up so that this customer can take off, get to where they're going. But that is the overview of the table, tightening it and all that fun stuff. And now we'll just go ahead and throw in our passenger side cushion and we will be set to go. All right, folks, final step here is gonna be putting on our passenger side cushion. We've got our box in place, so it should be as simple as putting this right on top and locking in those bumpers just as we did on this side. Pushing that in, give it a good little shake there, and we are all set. There is our GLSS 4 install. Thank you for watching. Please give us a call with any questions, but hopefully this does cover all the bases for you. Enjoy.